Hello friends, welcome to our new session, 11th Commerce Higher Secondary first year. Today we are going to discuss the first lesson of 11th Commerce. See the 11th lesson, first Commerce, chapter 1, historical background of commerce in the subcontinent. Choose the correct answer. The place where the goods are sold is known as Angadi. Hindrance of place is removed by transport. Who wrote Arthashastra? Kautilya. Trade and commerce was common to Dash dynasty, Pandya dynasty. Dash was the first Sultan. Dash was the first Sultan who paved way in the dense forest and helped traders to move from one marketplace to others place for their commercial caravans. That is Balban. Now, very short answer questions. What is meant by barter system? This question asked in the March 2020 paper. The barter system envisages mutual exchange of one's goods to other without the intervention of money as a medium of exchange. This answer is given in the textbook, but in some school they are giving barter system means exchange of goods against another goods. That answer is in old textbook, but in new textbook this answer is given. So as per the new textbook only you have to write the answer, otherwise marks will be not given. Next question, what is meant by Nallan Gadi? This question asked in the March 2019 paper. The place where the goods were sold was called Angadi. So the place where the goods were sold is known as Angadi. And the day market was called Nallangadi. Up to this is also enough. According to Saint poet Ilango in Silabadikaram, also if you want you can add it. Otherwise, day market was called as Nallangadi is enough. Next question, what is meant by Allangadi? The place where the goods were sold was called Angadi. Night market was called as Allangadi, according to Saint poet Ilango in Silabadi Garam. Now move on to short answer questions. Explain the meaning of the term Vanigam. The word Vanyam or Vanipam would have had a Dravidian origin. The early Tamils produced their products and goods in their lands and bartered their surplus. Surplus means extra. And that is how trade came into existence. The word Vanigam has been widely used in Sangam literature like Purunaru and Tirukural. So, the earlier Tamil peoples who made the extra rice, extra means surplus, they will do the business from that extra goods in the market. That is known as Vanigam. Next question. State the meaning of Maruvarpakum and Pakam. This question asked in the quarterly exam. Big cities like Pompuhar had the Maruvarpakum. Big cities like Pompuhar had the Maruvarpakum inland town and Pakam coastal town. So Maruvarpakum means inland town and Pakam means coastal means sea town. Had market and bazaars where many merchants met one another for the purpose of selling or buying different kinds of commodities and foodstuff. Port towns like Tundi, Korkai, Puhar, and Muziri were always seen as busy with marts and markets with activities related to import and export. So these are the places, these are the ports where import and exports are happened in olden days. In such a brisk trade, people of the coastal region engage themselves in coastal trade and develop their intercontinental trade contacts. So they are developing the contacts between the other countries. So import and export trade are increase in those periods. Next question. What is the role of Sangam in the trade development of ancient Tamil Nadu? Trade in Sangam period was both internal and external, but it was conducted by means of barter. Pandamatru. Trade was one of the major means of linking various regions in the medieval period. In the medieval period, Sangam work refers to great traders, their caravans, their security force, markets, marts, and guilds of such great traders. The important articles which the hilly tribes offered to their neighbors in exchange were honey and roots and fruits, while pastoral people offered cattle, milk, and milk products. Cattle served as money for sometimes during the same period. So in those periods, there are so many big caravans, so many people are going from one place to another place. They are doing business, they are doing market in a hilly area. They are also doing the business with the milk products. So this is the answer of ancient Tamil Nadu. Now we move on to next question. Fourth question. Fourth question. What are the ports developed by Pandya kingdom? Similarly, Pandya developed Korkai, Selayur, Kayal, Marungar, Patinam, and Kumari for foreign trade. So import and export trade, they developed this all coastal places. Besides, state expanded infrastructure for shipping such as ports, lighthouse, warehouse, etc. to promote overseas trade. Trade and commerce was so common to Pandya dynasty. Trade in copper, cloth, salt, flour, sandalwood, fish, paddy, cereals, pearls, etc. flourished during that period. Next, move on to next question. What was focused in Arthashastra about trade? Kautilya Arthashastra described economy in Mauryan time. Import of foreign goods was encouraged to enhance the standard of living of people. Kautilya gave importance for the state in relation to treasury, taxation, industry, commerce, agriculture, and conservation of natural resources. Arthashastra focused on creation of wealth as the means to promote the well-being of the state. So, these are all the things they developed in the Mauryan time. Next, move on to long answer. What are the hindrances of commerce? Hindrances means difficulties or problem. This question asked in the quarterly, half-yearly and March 2019 paper. First point, hindrance of person. If your students can't write all the points, you can write at least 2 points. From this 1 point and up to this 1 point, at least 2 points in one heading. If you write, that is more than enough. So, hindrance of person. Manufacturer does not know the place and face of the consumer. Who is manufacturer? The producer of the goods. He doesn't know the customer. It is the retailer who know the taste, preference and location of the consumer. The chain of middlemen consisting of wholesalers, agents and retailers establishes the link between the producer and consumer. Next point, hindrance of place. Production take place in one area and consumers are spread throughout the country and world. Rail, air, sea and land transports bring the product to the place of the consumer. Next point, hindrance of time. Consumers want products whenever they have money, time and willingness to buy. Goods are produced in anticipation of such demands. They are stored in warehouses in different regional centers so that they can be distributed at the right time to the consumers. So whenever the customer needed, we can sell the product. Hindrance of time means difficulties of time. So whenever the customer needed, they have time, they will go and purchase the product. Next, hindrance of risk of loss. Fire, theft, floods and accidents may bring huge loss to the business. Insurance companies serve to cover the risk of such losses. So risk and losses are there when the goods have been sent from one place to another place. So the insurance company will cover all the risk. Hindrance of knowledge. So many products are coming to the market. How do we know about that new product that came to the market? With the help of advertising and communication. So advertising and communication help in announcing the arrival of new products and their uses to the people. Hindrance of exchange. Money function as a medium of exchange and enable the buying and selling of any product or service by payment of the right price. Next point, state the constraints in barter system. This question is asked in the quarterly exam or half-yearly. The barter system envisages mutual exchange of one goods to other without the intervention of money as a medium of exchange. It imposes certain constraints in the smooth flow of trade as explained below. First of double coincidence of wants. So constraint means difficulties in barter system. Barter system means exchange of goods against goods. So lack of double coincidence of wants means unless two persons who have surplus means extra have the demand for the goods possessed by each other, barter could not materialize. For instance, for example, A is surplus of groundnut and B is possessing rice in surplus. In this case, A should be in need of rice possessed by B, as the latter should desperately need groundnut possessed by A. If this coincidence of wants does not exist, barter cannot take place. In simple words, if both A and B, if whatever A gives, the B ready to take, and whatever B gave, A ready to take, if that coincidence will not happen, then there is no barter system. Next point, non-existence of common measure of value. Barter system could not determine the value of commodities to be exchanged, as they lack commonly acceptable measures to evaluate each and every commodity. It was difficult to compare the value of all articles in the absence of an acceptable medium of exchange. So, in the olden days, there is no value, there is no measure of value. So, it is difficult to purchase the goods. So, now value is there, so easily we can purchase the goods. Otherwise, instead of badam, how can you give rice? And how much rice you have to give? It is very difficult to exchange the goods. That's why value is very important. Next point, lack of direct contact between the producer and consumer. It was not possible for buyer and seller to meet face to face in many contexts for exchanging the commodities, means product for commodities. This hindered the process of barter in all practical sense. So in olden days, there is only one way, that face to face you have to meet and give the products, but it is not possible. Lack of surplus stock. Absence of surplus stock was one of the impediments in barter system. If the buyer and seller do not have surplus, then no barter was possible. So this point is in a flashpoint. If both the person have no surplus stock, no barter system is possible. That is known as lack of surplus stock. Third question. Explain the development of commerce and trade in North India. Balban was the first sultan. If you write any 5 points, that is more than enough. Balban was the first sultan who paved the way in the dense forest and helped traders and the commercial caravan to move from one market place to others. Alauddin Khilji bought the price to a very low ebb. He encouraged import of foreign goods from Persia and subsidized the goods. Arab were dominant players in India's foreign trade. They never discouraged Indian traders like Tamil, Gujarati, etc. The trade between the coastal ports were in the hands of Marwadi and Gujarati. During Sultanate period, trade flourished due to establishment of currency system based on silver and copper. So Sultanate period, the currency has came. So it is very easy to increase the trade. Moorish traveler described the teeming market of big cities in the genetic plains, Malwar, Gujarat and South India. The important trade centers were Delhi, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Sonargaon, Jaunpur, Lahore, and so on. So in these places, the trade has been increased. India's handicraft commanded a good foreign market. Trade was conducted through overland routes with Afghanistan, Central Asia, and Persia. India conducted foreign trade via land route with Quetta, Khyber Pass, Iraq, and Bukhara. Now, next essay. Briefly explain the coastal trade in ancient Tamil Nadu. One such place which is said to have flourished from 200 BC onwards is Pompuhar. So, Pompuhar is a place where seaside import and export has been increased. The seaside town, which was once the second capital of Chola dynasty and a major center of international trade with both eastern and western people. Silk appears to be a major item of exports from here. Big cities like Pompuar had the Maruvarpakum inland town and Patniampakam coastal town, had market and bazaars where many merchants met one another for the purpose of selling or buying different kinds of commodities and food stuff. So this is the place where they can purchase and sell the product in Patniampakam coastal town. Port towns like Tondi, Korkai, Puhar, and Missouri were always seen as the busy with marts and markets with activities related to imports and exports. They were engaged in different kinds of fishing pearls and conches and produced salts and built ships. Now, last answer, fifth essay. What do you know about the overseas trading partners of ancient Tamil Nadu? This question asked in the March 2020 paper. Roman and Greek traders frequented the ancient Tamil country and forged trade relationship with ancient kings of Pandya, Chola, and Chera dynasties. Chola had a strong trading relationship with Chinese Song dynasty. The Cholan conquered the Sri Vijaya Empire of Indonesia and Malaysia to secure a sea trading route to China. During the 16th and 18th centuries, India overseas trade expanded due to trading with European companies. So any 5 points is enough. The discovery of new all-sea routes from Europe to India via Cape of Good Hope by Vasco da Gama had far-reaching impact on the civilized world. The arrival of Portuguese was followed by the advent of other European communities. India's maritime trade was monopolized, won over Europeans, and at one stage the global trade share of India was 55%, which is just 2% on in 21st century. Britishers put in place policies prohibiting the export of some of the popular goods like Indian textile goods, handicrafts to Great Britain. Between early 1600, 1600 and mid 19th century, the British East India Company led establishment and expansion of foreign trade all over Asia. So up to this, our first chapter is completed.